So I got a pretty easy question for you. How many of you have seen this photo? Do you know what you're looking at? Do you know where it's at? Do you know what happened? I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of you said no. Something that affects 13 MGM Vegas properties on the Strip, all happening simultaneously. Not a word. You probably haven't seen this photo either. And if you haven't seen the first two, then you definitely have no idea who you're looking at on your screen and how he just contributed to the ongoing attacks on the power grid happening across the United States. But this one could have had catastrophic consequences, and the media is blacked out. My name is Justice Knight, today filling in for Lisa Haven. Can't thank you enough for being here to let me bring you this story and an ongoing storyline about the continual and ongoing attacks on our nation's power grid. But why? Why would one this significant fall completely off all mainstream media headlines? We're going to cover that story. But before we do, if you haven't subscribed to Lisa, please just double check to make sure you are subscribed. Make sure your bell is checked so you learn upcoming broadcasts. This is something that both her and I have had to deal with on an ongoing basis lately. She'll also put a link just above for my channel. I certainly hope you'll subscribe, and it's why we created, and we've told you time and time again about restrictedrepublic.com. There is a reason we keep reciting that. It is a platform that we built for all the news, no commercials, no interruptions, controlled by us. Right now, a very special offer for you to go ahead and enjoy restrictedrepublic.com by putting RR Now in the monthly discount code. That's going to get you $3.99 a month for 1 year. That's right, $3.99 a month for 1 year plus 14 days for free. Get there today. But now let's get back to this story. So again, if you didn't know who you're looking at on your screen, I'm not holding it against you. There's a reason, because the vast majority of Americans haven't seen what you're looking at on your screen and the impact it could have had on Vegas itself. And in some ways, the impact it already did have. The story was this: man faces terror charge for damaging power plant outside Las Vegas. But before we get into the story, I'm going to remind you again about this mega story, bigger than any of the McCarthy theater we all had to deal with over the last several days, is this continual and ongoing onslaught on our nation's power grid that isn't stopping. Two-charge and Christmas Day attack on Washington power grid. This one actually made national headlines. Shockingly enough, I guess maybe it was a better story fit for the editorial board. Who knows? Two men have been hit with federal charges of conspiracy to damage energy facilities over a Christmas Day attack on 4 electrical substations in Washington state. But there's attacks across the country, some happening simultaneously. But yet, very little rumblings of anything that could be coordinated or a bigger plan. Until we get into the Vegas, which I'll show you the gaping hole in the storyline. Those 2 charge and attacks on substation in Washington, they go on, by the way. This damage takes a long time to fix. And the damage at those stations we just talked about is estimated to cost at least $3 million. The U.S. Attorney's Office said damage at those substations will take up to 36 months to repair. 3 years. 2 guys with handguns firing it into an electric substation. 3 years, $3 million in damage, and I guarantee you it will be much higher than that. Because these parts aren't easy to come by. There is a shortage. And so this is why this story should be front page news all the time. But the one in Vegas? Not a word. Barely a peep. Wait till I show you the search I did. Who's attacking our power grid? At least it hit a little blip on some news. Politico, physical attacks on power grid surged to new peak. Cute, but not funny. People are shooting, sabotaging, and vandalizing electrical equipment in the U.S. at a pace unseen in at least a decade. Amid signs that domestic extremists hope to use blackouts to sow unrest. And what you did see on that story that was covered was what they're claiming to be domestic extremists. The Vegas story doesn't necessarily fit that bill, at least as we know right now. Could that be contributing to why they, blacked out on the story? I'll show you in just a few seconds. Here's the power grid attacks. You see from 2018 going through to 2022. 2022 at a rate we haven't experienced in years, in decades. And we're staring in the face of an ongoing onslaught. As Politico states, physical and computerized assaults on the equipment that delivers electricity are at their highest level since at least 2012, including 101 reports this year, this being 2022 now, back when this story was published. Through the end of August, according to federal records examined by Politico, the previous peak was 97 incidents recorded in 2021. But hey, we got one headline, right? One headline. But it was funny in the bottom of that Politico story how relevant this suddenly becomes in relation to the Vegas story. And so how do you ensure that a solar field in the middle of the country is adequately protected? Boy, those words ring true here in just a second. Same issue you would have with some type of power plant, but now you just have many more smaller assets. One smaller asset that runs all the MGM properties in Vegas. One smaller asset that so happened to be, well, out there in the middle of the country. You see the map. And that is exactly what happened, because these solar fields aren't sitting right in the middle of a major city. No, they're out in the middle of nowhere. Well, this man found it. And somehow, he magically got out of it, ended up in an entirely different city, and nobody can exactly figure out how or why. Those are all the properties that affected. Now, to me, I know I could keep things a little bit black and white here, but to me, if you affected every one of those properties, you should be on national headlines. Not this story. Not a word. Not a peep. So we went to the local publication. Man faces terror charges for damaging power plant outside Las Vegas. A man is facing terror-related charges after police said he rammed his car through a gate at a solar plant outside Las Vegas and set his car on fire, disabling the huge facility. The 8 News Now investigators have learned. Around 11:30 a.m. on Wednesday, Las Vegas Metro Police responded to the solar plant on US 93 north of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Sources told 8 News Now investigators. Employees at the plant said they found the car smoldering in a generator pit. The man was long gone. The man's name? Mohammed Mesmerian. Should be a big story. So maybe I missed it. Maybe I wasn't paying attention for the last week. So I ran a search just to assure that, CNN and Fox News and MSNBC, they had covered this story most definitely. Major story, right? So I ran that search. No CNN, no Fox News, no MSNBC, nothing. Now, isn't that weird? One of the biggest stories I've read. Police suspect Mesmerian drove through the fence Tuesday afternoon after employees had left for the day. It was not until 12 a.m. Wednesday when the video reportedly showed him setting the car on fire, documents said. He sat by and watched the car burn for about 15 minutes out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody's going to be out there watching him, so that's not unusual. The fact that no mainstream media is covering it, when it could have taken down a big portion of the Vegas Strip, that's the more relevant portion, isn't it? Why wouldn't they cover the story? Police located Mesmerian at a campground Thursday, a day after the fire, in Boulder Beach at Lake Mead. It's unclear how he made it from the solar site when he burned his vehicle to Boulder City, a 30-mile drive. I don't know, to me, do you think maybe there was somebody else there waiting to drive him back, or just did he hitch it back real quick? No coincidences in any storyline. But again, not covered. Don't worry about it. Maybe this could indicate it's part of a bigger plot, and maybe we should be examining it a little deeper. They found some laptops. They found a cell phone registered to him. Car out of Idaho, if I remember correctly. Maybe we want to dig in a little deeper before, one of these actually work. Mesmerian clarified he burned a Toyota Camry a couple days ago, police said. He burned a vehicle at the Tesla solar plant and did it for the future. For the future of what? If you're taking down major power to get the green initiative through, okay, that would, be a sick definition of the future, but Now you're taking down the Green Initiative solar fields. None of this really makes sense, does it? Then it deserves further exploration, of which we're not being given. Police noted numerous recent attacks on power infrastructure in recent months. Police in Vegas noted there's been more. I'm a pretty darn good researcher, and we pay attention to as much as we can, but I haven't heard anything about that. Not a word. I'm pretty sure you haven't either. And so I wasn't going to let this story just go silently. Oh, heck no. We're going to bring it to you to bring visibility to what's happening on the very infrastructure that makes this nation go. But the media doesn't find it important enough to cover for you. So there must be something about this story that was really inconvenient for them, or maybe just wasn't strong enough. I look forward to seeing your comments on this. Now, before we go, Lisa wanted me to give a shout out to her sponsor. Now get ready for this. It's an entirely new link. You'll see it here. LisaHavenGold.com. Isn't that true, huh? Lisa Haven is gold. LisaHavenGold.com. This is Noble Gold Investments, longtime sponsor, but again, a new link. Remember, LisaHavenGold.com. Right now, with all qualifying accounts, qualifying IRA accounts, you're going to get this incredible 1/4 ounce gold coin. Again, new address, don't forget it. LisaHavenGold.com. Again, all qualifying gold IRA accounts receive this amazing gift from this amazing company, long-term sponsor of Lisa. Get over there today. We love y'all. Can't thank you enough for tuning in. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.